In today's busy world, baking tends to be easier with a store-bought box of ingredients. But sometimes it's fun to go back to basics and do it the old school way. So today, I'm going to show you how to make a blueberry pie from scratch the way Grandma used to do it. Don't go away.
Rose-colored glasses, take one.
Hi, I'm Angel Logan, and thank you for joining me today on Rose-Colored Glasses with Lord and Lady Logan. If you're new to our channel and you want to watch some of our previous shows, or you're a current subscriber trying to catch up on episodes that you've missed, you can search us on YouTube by typing at rosecoloredglasses-Logan, going to the hashtag rosecoloredglasses, or type the following web address into your browser: youtube.com/@rosecoloredglasses-Logan. Life has changed a lot over the years with more and more modern conveniences that are taking us further away from the traditional ways of life. Dana and I understand this all too well with our own demanding schedules. After a hectic day of work in this fast-paced life of long and sometimes unconventional hours, who wants to spend more time than necessary at the stove baking a dessert from scratch when there are plenty of prepared options that make it much easier and take less time? We all know this feeling, but this is precisely why we need to make time once in a while to embrace a little bit of tradition, to physically move around more, to put down the mobile devices, and to step out of our routine comfort zone. And making a blueberry pie from scratch is one way to achieve this. So, before we get started, here's what you'll need: a 9-inch pie plate, a rolling pin, a spatula, foil, mixing bowls, measuring cups and spoons. Now for ingredients, you'll need 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of sugar, that's optional, 1 cup of unsalted butter cut into 1/2-inch cubes, 6 to 8 tablespoons of water or more as needed, 2.5 pints of fresh blueberries, or frozen if that's what you have available, a tablespoon of freshly squeezed lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of milk or cream, 1/2 cup of brown sugar, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 2 large eggs. Stay tuned because Grandma's going to show you how to bake this pie. I'm going to share a couple of tips, and later on in this episode, I'm going to tell you how a blueberry pie can be a healthy dessert. The best part of baking is sharing this experience with someone else. So don't do this alone. Invite your kids to participate, another family member, or a good friend. This can be a fun activity with delicious results and the perfect way to bond with the people who matter the most to you. So let's begin with making the pie dough. It's usually best to do this right away because the dough needs to chill in the fridge for a minimum of 30 minutes. Now, some people like to use a food processor, but we all know that Grandma always did it by hand, so here we go. Start by pouring 2 cups of flour onto a cutting board or a clean table surface. Pile it up and push a little space in the middle, kind of like a volcano. This will create a little well where you should put your cubed butter pieces, water, and 1 egg. Then start to slightly fold the flour into the mixture while squeezing the butter and pushing the flour into the middle of your volcano. This will maintain that little well so that the liquid doesn't run out until you folded the flour completely into the mixture. And then, once you reach a consistent texture, you'll be done with that step. Then you start to knead the dough. The leftover bits of flour on the surface will help to keep it from sticking to your surface. Keep kneading it until you have a smooth consistency. Cut the dough in half and roll both halves into a ball. Wrap each with plastic wrap or parchment paper and put them in the fridge for a minimum of 30 minutes. Then take the dough out and let it warm up and rest for about 10 minutes. Now you're ready to roll out each ball of dough with your rolling pin, and you do it into a circle. Make each circle a 1/4 inch thick. One should be 14 inches round, and that's for the bottom crust inside the pan. Then the other one should be 10 inches. Once you roll that one out, you should cut it into even strips. This is what we're going to put on top of the pie for your lattice crust. Some people like to pinch the crust along the top edge of the pan in an alternating way for a scallop design, or you can pinch it consistently for a smooth edge, whichever you prefer. Now it's time to make your blueberry filling. But before you do, make sure that you preheat your oven to 425 degrees and put the oven rack in the middle of the oven for the pie. Then, in a large mixing bowl, whisk together lemon juice and milk, or cream if you prefer. Gradually sprinkle in 4 tablespoons of flour, and then whisk it until it's smooth. Stir in brown sugar and cinnamon, and then add your blueberries. Once all of that's together, keep stirring it until you coat all of the blueberries. Now let that sit for about 5 minutes. Then pour the blueberry mix into your prepared bottom crust and use your spatula to spread the mix evenly. Now you're ready for your lattice top crust. You simply place 1 strip at a time across the top of the pie, alternating another strip in the opposite direction to create a weaved look. Or, to make it easier, put half of the strips down in one direction on one layer, and the second half of the strips on top in the opposite direction. Either way, it will still look very nice. Once the top crust is in place, beat an egg in a small bowl with about a tablespoon of water. Then use a pastry brush to brush the egg over the top of the pie crust. This will make the crust look more amazing when it's done. Also, in order to protect the edges of the pie from over browning in the oven, use a long strip of aluminum foil, maybe about 38 inches long, and carefully wrap it around the edges of the pie plate and over the edges of the crust, leaving only the middle section of the pie exposed. This will protect the crust from getting too dark too quickly. Place the pie on a sheet pan to catch any spills that may happen while it's baking, and put it in the oven. Bake the pie in the preheated oven at 425, and then after about 30 minutes, carefully remove the foil from the edge of the pie, turn the heat in the oven down to 375 degrees, and bake an additional 30 or 40 minutes, or until golden on top. And voila! Can you imagine a blueberry pie being a healthy dessert? Well, it can be according to many experts, and you're already halfway there with the blueberries, because I've heard that this is considered a superfruit. Why? Because blueberries are supposed to be loaded with nutrients and antioxidants, which can be super good for us. Then, if you just replace the butter with olive oil or coconut oil to reduce the fat, replace the sugar with a natural sweetener like honey, and use a whole grain flour instead of your standard white flour, this can be a much healthier dessert and just as yummy. We want to hear from you. In the comments section below, tell us about your favorite dessert to make from scratch. Thank you for watching. If you click on more in the description section below right above the comments, you'll find links and information about our channel in today's show. Please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you're enjoying our show, and we hope that you'll visit again to take a look through our rose-colored glasses. Until next time.